Welcome to this episode of the Million Dollar Mastermind. I'm Larry Weidel, and before we get started, if you want to know exactly how to win again and again, go to weidelonwinning.com/webinar now to watch something I've put together for you. Now let's get going into this episode of Million Dollar Mastermind. I'm here with Mike Zeller. Hello, Mike.
Larry, what's up, my friend?
We are talking, and you were telling me how you went about writing your book and the elements in it, and you came down to a really important subject. And I'm interested in hearing what you found out about that. You went through some of the basics, but how to set yourself up when the world, one thing is the universe is expanding.
Yes, it is.
The universe is expanding, and we're on a spinning globe going around another spinning globe, and people who want stability in life are really going to have it tough. I mean, if you're not going to be flexible, if you're going to look for some kind of freedom and independence in the world, you've got to be able to think for yourself, and you've got to look down the road. And especially if you got people to depend on you for leadership and support and income, your family, and you're just a huge dummy if you don't consider backup plans.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the things, when I've always heard when you're starting a new business, right from the beginning, it's almost like as soon as you go in and get a job, think of what's my exit strategy? What job will I go to next? Because what that does, even if you're in a corporation, it makes you a better employee because you're looking, how can I move up? Rather than how can I hold on to this job for 30 years? It's like, and that makes you more industrious and entrepreneurial, even in a salaried position. How can I make myself more valuable, develop more skills and all? But when you start a business, if you're thinking right, you're thinking, I'm going to blow this thing up. We're going to be successful, and I'm going to get some great new ideas down the road. Other opportunities will come my way. And I may want to get the point where I sell this thing off and go do the next bigger thing. And so you're smart to be thinking ahead, even at the start of a new business, start of a new career. But when you go, really, there's no time not to be looking down the road and at least being aware of, in your peripheral vision, because something is heading your way. There is some kind of fireball headed your way every day. And, if you got your antenna up, you can kind of duck and dodge it and not get blown away. So talk about how that occurred to you. How did you phrase that thing? How to set yourself up? What you had a real good way of saying that.
Yeah, just being nimble. The nimble mindset gives you a competitive advantage and a nimble business model because things are shifting fast. And those, why did dinosaurs go extinct? Because they didn't adapt fast enough. And right now, in this age of disruption that is going to continue and it's going to shift, and as global things settle down and COVID settles down further, some of these things will even out, but there will still be the speed of change is only going to be faster in many regards. So the ones that are the fastest to adapt and move, and you look at the sports teams, I look at how like the Lakers won the NBA title a couple years ago because they adapted to the NBA bubble experience a lot differently than others, and they did it well, and it was good for LeBron because he got rest, and Anthony Davis. But I think there's some other opportunities that you got to look at of NFTs are opening up. There's blockchain, so many blockchain different elements that are, man, like Moore's law is that the speed of computational power doubles every 18 months. Well, now AI and machine learning, you can write a whole book with the help of AI and machine learning now. You can write another 5 years and crank out a novel without your help at all. These things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's going to be crazy. So I think being okay, retraining your brain to say, you know what, it's okay for change, and be priming our brain to be excited. When the world is changing, how can you, instead of your primal response is say, oh, this is dangerous, or for some people it's dangerous, when instead, what if we could prime our brains to say, you know what, this is exciting, and look for the opportunity, look for what doors shut and what doors open because of the changes.
And who's been can you think of any great role models for you of this in this arena?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, one of them is one of my consulting clients, but I was a client of his, Peter Diamandis. He's the number one expert, arguably, in exponential technology. Just came out with a new book with Tony Robbins called Life Force. His book with Stephen Kotler, The Future is Faster Than You Think. Both of those, all of his books are excellent. He's got 4
What's
books now.
what's his name? What do you spell that?
Peter Diamandis,
Oh yeah,
Dia.
I got it.
Yeah, yeah.
I know. Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, he's brilliant. I mean, such good stuff. And I think as we look for the future, what do great leaders do? They anticipate what's coming around the corner.
Right.
Winners. We're talking about winners, right? So
Right.
we got to see what's coming around the corner.
Hey, listen, there's a lot of information online, but there aren't a lot of people who've actually done something. In my case, I've actually built a successful business that's accrued over $5 billion in assets under management and has done well even during trying times. Now, if you want to know exactly how I've done this, go to whitelmwinning.com/webinar now. I've compressed a decade of learning into 5 short weeks just for those of you who want to give yourself an incredible advantage and are tired of waiting and watching others move up.
Well, and the thing is, you got to be smart enough. This goes back to fundamental basics. You got to be smart enough to avoid getting arrogance, to where you think that I really don't have to, we've got it, we got it now. But you never see winners, super successful people. If you ever ask them, do you feel like you have it made? They look at you like you've lost your mind. It's like,
right.
Have it made? Are you kidding? Because they know how much things change, and they know you're never going to, you don't stay with your head above water, just, treading the same kind of duck paddle step you did last year. You've got to improve if you're going to be able to maintain your position, because your competition's improving all the time too. And we know that in sports, that's what keeps you out there. But the thing is, like, being fast to change and adapt. You might have a great position in your marketplace, but and new things are coming along. But if you're not paying attention to those things and implementing them, bringing them into your business and using them as tools to get ahead yourself, as they're, at least make yourself aware of them, and then step by step bring them in. And if you're not doing that, the only thing you need to realize is your competition is.
Yeah, exactly.
And, they're folding in advantages all the time, and sooner or later, your charisma, your reputation, your work ethic is going to get steamrolled by somebody. Most of the wars are won by the ones with the best ammunition, and you can't go out against long rifles with your bow and arrows and continue to win wars for the next 100 years. You know what I'm saying? At some point, you need to go take a look at the firepower. And so, because your enemy is, and the thing is, it's business is competition. You got to compete, and nobody has any sympathy for you if your sales go down. And what have you found out about looking at the numbers of business, especially in startups? What do you tell people?
Looking at the number of businesses, I mean, businesses are fluctuating, but ultimately the same number of businesses still exist. It's roughly the same percentage of population as entrepreneurs. That hasn't changed. Now we've got a lot of freelancers now. Like the free agent nation is more prominent. The gig economy is here, and that's probably going to continue a little bit. And a lot of people are rejecting, the Great Resignation. Man, people said, "Hey, I don't want the same old job anymore," and they don't want to go back to the office environment. So a lot of leaders are making boneheaded decisions on some of that too. But I think we've got to look, man. What are ways? The other thing, as a person who wants to be in the right wave, you think of, am I the guy standing on the beach that is just walking along, and I don't even see the wave of disruption coming, and I get sideswiped and I get wiped out? Or am I riding the right wave? You think of a wave, how much energy is being carried by that wave? It's really hard to go against the wave, but it's really easy if you're a surfer to ride a big wave. I mean, it's not easy, but there's a lot of energy that you can ride if you are paying attention. And so we want to ride, like, I remember the .com boom in the 90s, and man, boom, everything with the .com went way up in value.
Right.
So, what are the opportunities? Am I in the right industry? Am I leveraging my genius? People who accomplish extraordinary things put themselves in extraordinarily right positions. We're sports fans, winners. You look at Tom Brady and the Bucks. Tom chose Tampa Bay and won the Super Bowl in 2021 because he saw, hey, these guys have the talent I've been missing. Everything's here except the quarterback. And Belichick wasn't good at assembling the talent. Belichick had lost his way. He's still great, the best coach ever.
Bad draft choices.
Yeah. And so you choose
for years,
Yeah.
Draft choices that stunk,
Yeah, and so you gotta think about, am I putting myself in the best position to succeed? And that's been my obsession with my entrepreneur clients that I mentor. Anytime I speak or mentor anyone, with my wife, with myself, with my daughter, how do I put myself in the best position where my success, as I define it, not someone else's definition, but as I define it, is inevitable? So what has to happen for my success to just automatically happen? I think it's environment, it's people. Who am I surrounding myself with? If I surround myself with enough of the right people, guess what? Gravity flips. Gravity reverses, and gravity starts pulling us up instead of down. And then if I put myself in a position where I'm wired to actually step into my genius, crazy thing is you're twice as likely to step into your genius. Step into flow state. The psychological state of flow, where you're 500% more productive. You're twice as likely to step into it when you are operating from your strengths.
Absolutely. Can't be stated enough. And really, that's what you work for all your, when you're setting up everything in your life, everything contributes to you being able to get into that state of flow, maximum, peak performance, productivity, or whatever, and stay in there. Because when you're in that thing, multiples, we call it magic, but multiples can happen. And as long as you're able to stay, that's kind of like riding a wave. I mean, they just shoot as long as they stay in that curl, but and they know it's not going to last forever. That's why you want to keep your mind focused when you get things rolling, and take advantage of that momentum for as long as possible. Because things, like you say, we live in a world full of disruptions, and things are it can be something little, to throw you off. And so when you're in that groove, take it serious. Don't get arrogant. Don't take it for granted, and keep it going for as long as possible.
If you enjoyed what you've heard and are dead serious about finding out for yourself exactly how this works in the real world, I've taken the most valuable business lessons I've learned over 40 years and put them into something for you to watch. Go to whiteelemwinning.com/webinar now in order to move up as fast as possible. I'm Larry Weidel, and I run the $1 Million Mastermind. Go, go, go.